Hey, what's up, guys? If you've been following me for a while, you know I'm a huge fan and supporter of Firecracker Farm. Alex, the owner, is not only an incredible human being, but he makes an incredible product. And that is why we could not be happier that they are sponsoring the Shoot Me Straight podcast. Each guest, when they come in, will get a sample of Firecracker Farm so they can take it back and enjoy. And I can tell you, to each person that we've given it to, they have not been disappointed. You can put these, put this salt on your favorite food, favorite beverage. I've even seen people put it in their coffee. They love it. There's an assortment of heat, so if you don't like it too hot, they definitely have that taken care of with some mild flavors. And then it goes all the way to extreme heat if you like to sweat. So if you guys are interested in purchasing some, go to firecracker.farm. All right, thank you for listening, and God bless. Welcome back to Shoot Me Straight with Eddie and Dave. Today we have our good friend Teddy Batarao.
Say it right.
Yeah, that's why I didn't say it. Batarao.
Batarao. There we go.
Yeah. He's a local here. I've known you. We've known each other for
Since you moved down,
like five years. But I met you through Brandon and Tom. Yep. And then I remember I brought Trevin to the Bible study that you hosted for a little bit. But yeah, and I worked with your brother Randy.
Yep.
So yeah, it's good to have you on.
Yeah, you hosted a UFC fight at your house. That's when I.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yep.
So appreciate that.
The old famous UFC fight. Still doing it, man. Open invite all the time. I always like people coming over. Speaking of, did you watch the last one?
Oh my gosh, that
How
was
awesome.
crazy. That was worth every penny.
Yes.
Did you predict that?
I did not. I thought
You thought Oliveira was gonna.
Well, I'm an Oliveira fan.
Yeah.
But man, Taporia's hand is just like, that's crazy. It was so fast.
Yeah.
You could almost see like Oliveira was like, you could see he's like, I'm gonna punch this guy real hard. You saw like the little cloud in his head, like I'm about to punch this guy. Duke, he's out.
Done.
Yeah. On the button.
That's incredible.
Yeah, Taporia is on another level.
He's
he
so
said it.
fast
He was
and
like,
so hard.
he's like, I respect Oliveira. He's a champion. He's like, but I'm a whole different generation of fighter, and that's you're done. Did you see the fight before that though? The fight of the night,
Van.
bro.
Oh my gosh, that was a striking. I mean, they're boxers. I mean, I can't believe that dude didn't like at least try to take him down once or something.
No, that was
crazy.
That was a straight
And he won right at the end. I had the fight
tied up,
1-1, and then kind of an advantage in the third round. I was like, if he doesn't do anything crazy, like he's probably gonna lose by a decision. And then he pulls it out right at the end. I was like, oh my!
I was
gosh,
cheering
that
for
is
Van,
crazy.
dude.
Yeah, I like Van.
This kid is 23 years old. He fought, I think, earlier that month for the UFC.
Yeah.
Got offered
3
like,
weeks.
hey, 3 weeks. Like, do you want to go fight for? Was it a title fight or no?
It's so he can get the title fight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he wins that.
He's ranked 14th.
And then at the end of the fight, they're like, "Oh, what do you want?" And he's like, "I want to be whoever wins this title fight. I want to come in and do a face off." And I didn't think they were going to do it because I was like, "Oh, yeah." And he comes in, so he's getting the next title fight. And this kid is nasty, dude. Well, I didn't see any of his groundwork.
I don't think he has any. Yeah, I
But,
think
dude,
the challenge
his
he has
fists-
is if somebody takes him down, and they start doing ground stuff. I think he's gonna have to grow in that.
Yeah,
for sure.
yeah.
But if they stand toe to toe with him,
Bro, he's nasty.
they're not gonna.
Yeah.
fare
Really?
well. Yeah, he's really good. He's a great striker.
I've never heard
and
of
he's got a
Van.
hard chin.
He was a new dude. Yeah,
His last name is Van.
he's Asian.
Yeah, out of where's he fighting out of? I forget where he's fighting out of. But anyways, yeah, he's incredible.
Yeah.
Fun to watch.
Have to
Super
watch
fun to
that.
watch.
Yeah, I seen the invite, dude.
I know. Then you come.
Yeah,
It's tough making those because the main fight isn't till midnight.
yeah, it is.
It is pretty late.
It sucks being here in Florida for those fights because you're up till midnight, 1 in the morning.
Yeah.
And
But
I go to sleep early usually.
that one was a tough one because I was like, I really want to see that
Oh, it
one.
was every fight was great.
I mean, my prediction was, I was like, I think I want Oliveira to win, but I think Taporia will win.
Yeah,
And that's what happens.
and then
Quick.
Patty Pimblett, they called him
Yeah, I
in
saw
to face
that.
off with
Of
Taporia.
course.
He would get owned too. I'm sorry. I like him too, but
I think he would do better than Oliveira.
Yeah, I do
I think
too.
he would try to go to the ground immediately.
Yeah,
But he would still.
because Taporia's original game is ground game.
No, yeah.
Yeah,
But
Yeah.
I think a lot of people forget that. Is the
Yeah.
thing. I said they're going to go in there and try to do that, and it's like, no, and then he's going to catch you.
Yeah, I wouldn't necessarily count out Patty though. Patty is I would, if I had to bet a lot of money on it, I would bet on Taporia.
He's
that
just
would be
more
a smart.
technical and just fat.
Yeah.
I mean,
But
whatever his fist is made out of, I mean, what he's doing to these guys is just, it's crazy.
he's from what, Georgia?
He's from Spain.
Spain,
from Spain.
Yeah, from Spain.
the Matador.
The Matador, yeah.
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 What was funny was I liked how he won the fight, and he's like, because I like his whole demeanor too, where he's just like real calm and chill, and he's like, dude,
I told you guys.
I told you. And then he does this. He's like, thank God and blessings to God. They're like, all right. And then he just turns and he goes, Patty Pimblett, you fucking pussy. He's like, I'm going to put my balls on your face. I was like, yes.
That's exactly what I was thinking. I was like, oh my gosh. These guys. But that's that world, you know? It's
Yeah.
like, you can't judge them. I'd be the same way. All that testosterone. Like,
Yeah,
just
dude.
One, like, heck,
Yeah.
You want to fight me? Let's go.
Yeah.
Exactly. And give glory to God. And by the way,
That's right.
you're a bitch.
Oh my gosh.
So,
Hilarious.
how long have you lived in this area?
Oh, that's a good question. I've been in this area 27 years now. So I
Since you got married.
yeah, I joined the military right out of high school. I was 18.
What year?
1997.
Okay.
Yeah, September 1997 is when I came in. So I graduated May. Went to the recruiter's office.
So we're the same age.
You're
46, yeah.
yeah, 46.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're
All
46,
right. Yeah.
And we're looking freaking badass.
That's
Look at
right.
us,
You couldn't tell, but
It's funny because I wasn't going to join the military. I actually was trying to go to Georgia Tech, and I got accepted. And then I remember, getting a bunch of different letters of acceptance. And it's like, I went to my dad. I was like, hey, I'm going to go to Georgia Tech. And they're like, yeah, go do it. I don't know how you're going to pay for it.
Yeah.
Because I lived in Charleston at the time. So I would have been out of state for the first year. And the cost, I mean, this is in 97. The cost, I think they have a little spreadsheet that shows your cost. It was like 88 grand for the first year. So, I was like, well, that's not an option. So I guess I'm going to join the military. I was a Navy brat.
Yeah.
So our dad, he was a nuclear sub guy.
oh,
But
dang.
he was old days in the military when he was in the Navy, he naturalized from the Philippines. So he's a Filipino that joined the Navy in the Philippines to become a U.S. citizen. And if you weren't any other race, if you were any other race, you were in the galley. You were cooking.
Yeah.
And so
The
but
Fil-
the
the
good thing for
Filipino
him is-
mafia.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, they run the Navy.
That's right. That's
Yeah.
right. And so, he joined the military. He was on a carrier. I'm going to share the story because I think it's got to go out there in the world. My dad actually, he got in a fight while he was in the military in Massachusetts, and he ended up killing a guy.
Ooh.
Yeah, like he stabbed a guy, and the guy bled out. And his saving grace was everybody liked him because he cooked good food, and my dad's really like an ambassador. So this guy must have been bullying him, and I don't know the full story, but whatever this dude does, my dad's very, very peaceful, very even keel. Like between my brother and I think he laid hand on us twice, once on me and once on Randy, and we remember it vividly. And it was weird because it was like he never.
Yeah, it was out of
He
character.
never really disciplined us. He was always very, very calm. Like a hurricane could come and he would just be like, all right, this is the plan. We're going to do this. And he's very much like an ambassador. Like everybody in our town loved him. He's the type of dude that when people say take their shirt off, their back, like he would be in somebody's car ripping an engine out and putting a new one in for free. Like he would just do it because he's like, that's the right thing to do. So anyways, he had some kind of trial, and his commander, whatever you guys call him in the Navy, like came and defended him. It was like, yo, this is a good dude. That guy was an asshat. Like, let him go. So the only thing he got was he wasn't allowed to be in Massachusetts. He's never allowed to go back to Massachusetts, or I don't know if there's a certain time. And he went from carriers to submarines, and he ended up in Charleston. From Charleston, he got stationed in Puerto Rico. That's where he met my mom. She's Puerto Rican, so I'm a Philly-Rican. And then a couple years later, I popped out and my brother popped out.
Yeah.
And so we grew up between Charleston, South Carolina, and Puerto Rico every 3 years, back and forth, back and forth.
Oh, wow.
So
It was a different Navy back then, dude.
yeah, way different Navy.
That happened now, they'd be
Yeah.
like, string them up. Yeah, no matter what.
No, and it's very interesting to
Yeah.
say that because it was very much like they handled stuff internally. It was
Yes.
like, hey, we got this. Obviously there was a death, so they had to. I think they got the state involved. Something happened with the state. But
Yeah.
the the highest rank in that ship had some clout, and they were like, "Yo, whatever you do, like, he's a good dude."
Yeah.
That guy was a dirtbag.
That's cool.
And and it was racially motivated and all that stuff. So
Yeah, but that's how it should be.
Yeah,
Like
they
your
took
command
care of
should take care of
That's
you
right.
if you were in the right. Yeah.
yeah, and he spent 23 years in the Navy. He made it to E8. They want to give him E9, and he's like, "I'm tired of
Yeah.
babysitting people," and so he retired in
That's pretty high.
1988. Yeah,
That's pretty high up.
Yeah, very high.
E9
E8.
is
E9 is the master chief. E8
Yeah,
is
he's
senior chief.
Senior chief, yeah.
Yeah.
was the top. Is there an E10?
No. So that's the saying. It's like there's T-shirts out there, that you can wear. It's like there is no E10. Like so, on master chiefs that are E9, that the good ones don't give a shit. They're like, dude, I'll say what I want because there is no I don't have no more rank to pick up, so I'm at the top.
that's right.
The only thing they could do is like make you the master chief of the Navy.
Right.
That's like, but you got to be a little nerd to get that
Who's
position.
the top of the Navy? Like, who's the
The Secretary of the
Secretary
Navy.
of Navy, yeah.
Yeah.
secretary?
Yeah. But he's a civilian.
But that's basically a politician. At that
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Then you have the admiral, the top admiral of the Navy.
Right.
Yeah. That falls underneath him.
That's the guy. That's the one that wrote that Navy SEAL that wrote that book.
He wasn't the top admiral. He's just he was the Admiral McCraven.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking of.
that guy.
What
I can tell you
what
really
a
like
gr-
that guy.
Yeah.
what a great guy.
really, really good. Here's what baffles me, dude, is that guy came out.
Can I get my disclosure or whatever? Like, I don't agree. I don't have to agree with people's opinions or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know that guy. It's like, I can just tell Eddie really
know.
loves this guy.
He's make your bed. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sound advice. And then the thing is, everybody's like, "Oh, that's genius," and it's like, dude, this guy's a moron. Anyways, we'll move on from that. I don't even want to get into him. So you joined in '97.
97. Yep.
What job did you pick
I
in
was
the
a
Air
comm
Force?
guy in the Air
Comm.
Force. Yeah. I wanted to be a drafter. So the whole point of going to Georgia Tech is I wanted to be an engineer.
Yeah.
Thank God I didn't end up, because I'm not an engineer. I don't have the mind of an engineer. My mind runs too fast.
Yeah.
And I want to be a drafter. You do the whole MEPS thing, and they do all these physical evaluations, and they're like, "You're colorblind, so you can't be a drafter." And I was like, "Okay, what can I do?"
What's a drafter?
They take architecture, plans, and they're the ones that actually do all the.
Oh, okay.
I don't know what they do. Honestly. They put it on paper. The architect comes up with this idea. You actually put it on paper, and then they approve it.
So you do like the blueprints.
Right.
Yeah.
blueprint
Okay.
Stuff. So I was like, "Ooh, that would be cool. I'd like to do that." I wanted to be like an industrial designer. The ultimate goal was to design cars.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, I'm a gearhead. Like,
Yeah.
the idea was to design cars, but I was like, the only school at the time that you could go, even get close to that, was in Detroit and California. And I was like, I
Yeah.
don't like either of those places, so I joined the military. So
Yeah.
my other motive was my mom. She's a Latina, and she's crazy. She's a good crazy, but Latinas are they're fiery.
They're
Spicy.
spicy.
Yeah, they're spicy. They are, piss and vinegar.
Yeah,
And
like
so she
firecracker
was,
sauce.
because I was the firstborn, I was the favorite child, and also she was just on me all the time, and I was just like, I gotta get out of here. Like, I cannot, the first minute I could get out of the house, I was like, I gotta get out. So my thought was I'd go to college and get out, but that didn't work. So then I had to have a plan B, and the military was the quickest path to get out.
Yeah.
And I was dating my now wife at the time too, so I was like, all right, I'll do that, go get married, and actually I wasn't thinking about marriage because I'm an idiot, like the rest of the guys. I was thinking,
What am I going to do with my
calling
life?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember calling her. I was like, hey, I'm going to join the military, and I'm going to end up probably in Florida. You want to come down and move with me? And my idea was, she can go to school at University of West Florida, and we can kind of date and dabble. And if it doesn't work out, that's on her. Like, she moved out.
Not on me.
She didn't give me the options. She was like, if I don't have a ring, I'm not moving out there. And I was like, well, shit. I'm about to actually make a big boy decision here.
That's a good woman. She's got her principles.
Yeah,
You were
Yeah.
you were young. You were how
I was
old?
18 years old.
18 years.
She was 19.
Holy cow.
Yep. So all the odds were against us for sure.
Well, I mean,
That's
I
the way
think-
to do it.
Yeah, but I think it was incredible. You're 20. You just said 27 years.
Yeah, we've been married 27 years. We got married May 1st at the courthouse in Shalimar. She was wearing a black dress, and I was wearing my blues uniform because that's really all the. Yeah, my first check was $278. You remember those?
Oh
days,
yeah, dude.
$278. I remember showing her. I was like, "Hey, I got paid."
And
the first time.
that's the beauty of it. I really thought I was making some good money. I'm like, dude, they're just putting money in my
Twice
bank
a month
account.
I'm gonna get this kind of money. Like, this is incredible. You
Yeah.
know? And she was like, "This is it," and I was like, "Yeah, but it's twice a month,
Yeah.
like guaranteed."
We're loaded.
Yeah. and then next month they're gonna pay me for the rent, so I'm gonna get rent money and food money. So like, this is incredible.
That's the way to go.
Yeah.
My daughter just got, so my son-in-law's in the Air Force now. So Ava got married a couple months ago. And yeah, they're going, he's out in Alaska.
Yeah. Alaska's nice. I've never heard anybody say anything bad about Alaska.
Yeah, he likes it out there, man. It's in Anchorage. But yeah, they, obviously when he was like, hey, I want to marry your daughter, I was like, okay, you know, and I like him, and like he's making something of himself. But I was like, I got it. I was like, oh, you guys want the BAH? And they're like, yes. And I was like, all right. Yeah, and that's normal.
Yeah, that's normal. I mean,
I think for civilians, they don't understand that. It's like a lot of people get married early on in the military because you get the extra pay and all that.
BAH is like
housing allowance.
It's a housing allowance, yeah. So it's not taxed. So,
nice.
And now it's stupid around here. I think it's like $2,200-$2,300.
Probably, because that's what it takes. I mean, that's how it was in San Diego. It was $2,700, I think.
Gotcha.
I think around there. I could be wrong, but it's because of the price, you know, the cost of living.
Is just so high. Yeah. So this was my first duty station. I got stationed at Eglin, actually, and some little intel shop. Well, let me reverse. So they told me I was colorblind, and I was like, well, that's a bummer. And they were like, you're going to be a comm guy. That's the job that you want. And I was like, don't they deal with wires that are colored and stuff like that? And he was like, don't worry about it. This is the job that you want. And I was like, sure. I didn't know anything about computers. Like, I had a typing class in high school.
You're going to diffuse bombs, you know? You're
Yeah,
like, wait
no,
a minute,
definitely
I
not
can't see the...
Yeah.
So yeah, I signed up. My dad told me, he's like, do not go in open, go in with a guaranteed job. So I at least did that.
Smart.
I was like, what? I have a guaranteed job. He's like, yep, that sounds good. Computers are not going to go anywhere. And like I said, I didn't know anything about computers. Mm-hmm. And came in, got the training, and I was like, you know, I observe and I evaluate. I look at life kind of like a game. And so I think, okay, how do I play this game? How do I play this game well? And for me, I like being the gray man. I don't know if that's bad or good or whatever, but I don't want to be noticed, you know? And I remember in basic training, it was funny. I was like, when I sleep deep back in the days, not anymore for whatever reason. But I was the guy that they would lift the bed and then drop it. And I would still be asleep. And then I would wake up and I'm like, what the heck is going on? Just complete chaos. You know, and they're like, wake up. And I'm like, what in the world is going on? Like, and then I just learned, I was like, all right, I got to figure out ways to not be, you know, that guy that's getting, you know, lifted up on his bed. Mm-hmm. And it's funny because being yelled at, I was like, this is nothing. Like, can you guys touch me? Can you do anything? Because my mom would, like, you know.
Yeah.
It was.
I've been yelled at by my mom a lot
exactly.
worse. Yeah.
It was like, my mom was very physical, you know, with us. That's just the way, you know, our culture is in the Latin world. It's like, you know, they defend themselves, and if you're not listening, like, you're gonna get an open hand slap or a broomstick over your neck, something. You're gonna figure it out. You know? So anyways, yeah, basic, all that stuff. Ended up at Eglin at an intel shop. So while I was in the Air Force, my entire career, I did 9 years active duty. I was in a skiff, and even after that, as a contractor, I was in a skiff, which is a secure facility.
Yeah.
You can't bring cell phones or any of that stuff. I was always supporting intel, you know, organizations. And so 2 very thankless jobs. Nobody cares about computers until something breaks, and then they're cursing at you. And nobody cares about intel, you know,
until it
unless
works.
it's wrong. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like, you son of a gun, you gave me bad intel. So you know, I was like, I learned real quick. I was like, all right, these jobs, you know, they're great because nobody, you know, bothers you until something breaks, and then it's like, you know, the whole world is ending.
Yeah.
So it's like, how come the internet's not working? I don't know. I'm not Cox Internet. Like, well, the internet's not working. So,
Did you enjoy it? Did you enjoy computers?
It's funny because I got out because I saw the bureaucracy, and the military would come in and they would give you these hoorah, you know, briefings. You know, some high-ranking person would tell you, hey, this is how you take control of your career. You do these steps, and you know you'll move along in your career. And in my mind, anything that I do, I think I want to be at the top of that, whatever that is.
Yeah.
And so I just, in my mind, I decided, yeah, I'm going to be a chief. This is too easy. Like, I just have to be better than every mediocre person that's in my shop.
Yeah.
And I'll be a chief. And then you take the steps, and then they change the rules. And then every time you take a step, they change the rules. And I'm like, all right, I'm not playing this game.
Yeah.
You told me one rule set, and then you changed the rule set, and I'm just not going to give any more time to this. So my last, the last draw was I signed up for a special duty. We were going to go to Naples. I got a RIP, which is not quite orders. The RIP tells you they've selected you for a new location, and then the next step is they're going to give you orders, and that's official, and they stamp it, and then you move. My chief, Chief Davis, I remember maybe he'll watch this, maybe he won't, and I don't hate him for it, but they're doing what they have to do work-wise. But they had in the military, because IT was becoming such a big deal, there wasn't enough people to fill it from the civilian side. They were cross-training a bunch of active military into our world, but they let a bunch of like older people that were they're on their way to retirement, come into our field. So what would happen is you'd have this, higher ranking person that doesn't know anything about your job in your shop, and they're trying to pull rank on you, and it's like, well, you don't know how to do anything.
As the
Why are
military in a
you telling
nutshell.
me, like, you're telling me to go do work, but you don't even know how to do the work. And you signed up to do this work so you can learn how to do the work. And they're like, well, I'm a master sergeant, or I'm a whatever. And I'm like, I don't care. Like, I just don't care. And of course I would get in trouble because I'm not very good with authority. Not good authority. I'm not very good with terrible leadership or
Nonsensical authority.
Exactly.
Where it's like, dude, you're literally telling me what to do, and I know more than you.
Exactly.
I had the same issues.
It's just like, I don't do well with that. It's like, I'm the expert, you're the idiot, you shut up and let me talk, right? I understand the rank thing, but right in this world, you're in my world. And that tension, I was just like, I don't want to play this game anymore. So I got out. They canceled my orders. They canceled my RIP. They were like, they're not going to replace your position. So we're going to cancel those orders. So you're going to get stuck here. Not that it's a bad place to get stuck, but I wanted to progress. And I was like, well, then I'm just going to get out. And you don't know how many people told me that you're crazy. You have 9 years in. You only have 11 years, left to get your retirement. You got this.
I think that's the perfect time if you're going to get out. Like that's what I used to tell guys that were underneath me. I'm like, if they were reaching that 10-year mark and they had that decision to make, I'm like, listen, dude, this is the biggest decision. It's like, you can get out now and you have enough time in to where you have experience and you can make something yourself when you get out. I'm like, but if you re-enlist, I was like, you should stay in for the 20.
Right,
At that point, it's like, just do the whole
Finish
thing.
it out, And in my mind, and this is what I would tell people, I was like, if I get to retirement age, which I don't really believe in retirement. Anyways, we can have another conversation on that too. But in my mind is if I get into in my 60s and 70s, and my regret is, dang, I should have stayed in 20 years, so I can get an extra $2,800 or whatever the heck it was. Then I really made a lot of bad mistakes along the way. So I bet on myself, and I was like, I'm gonna just bet on myself. I'll figure it out. And it's funny, I stepped out. I didn't re-enlist, and they literally tried to get me, up until 2 days before. Hey, this is your last chance, and I was like, I'm out. I was out a year ago in my mind. I left. I took a week off, and I came back to a building next door as a contractor, and I just went from there. So and I did literally the same exact job, as a contractor that I did in the Air Force.
Probably getting paid a lot more.
Yeah, getting paid a lot more. Yeah. And it's funny because when I got out, the fear is transitioning is always like, and the good thing is I had good mentors at that time. I was already being mentored, and I don't know if you guys have heard of the name Bill Mason. I had met him in 2005.
Oh, yeah.
So
I met Bill.
Yeah, Bill.
Yeah.
I separated in 2006. In 2005, I met Bill. He saved my life. In 2006, when I decided to get out, in my mind, I thought, well, I only need to make this much. And Bill was like, no, you're not going to get housing. You're not going to get, food. You're going to get taxed. You have to pay for medical. Like, these are realities you need to think about. When you go look for a salary, you need this much. And I was like, oh. And I didn't know if that was going to be a reality or not. And it's so funny, the way God works is I was praying for a certain amount. I was like, I need this much to survive. And my third interview, a couple of my buddies actually worked at the shop. It was a Northrop Grumman position. And they called me up. They're like, hey, we want you to come in for an interview. And I was like, that's fine. The guy's name was Larry. He came in and he's like, hey, nice to meet you. I'm going to be your boss. And I was like, does that mean I got the job already? In my mind, I'm thinking. And he's like, this is the data center where you'll be working. This is the office where you'll be working. He takes me outside. He pulls out a cigarette, starts smoking. And he's like, how much you want to get paid? And I said, this much. And he goes, go higher. And I was like, okay. I put some stupid number out there. He's like, nope, go lower.
1 million.
Yeah.
Put a number.
Yeah. And because he knew the game that HR plays, with people. And he's like, if you say that number, they'll give you that number. They'll fight with you a little bit, but he's like, tell them that number and I'll prove it. And I was like, holy crap. So I was like, dude, got a job? He's like, when can you start? I start Monday. He's like, all right, we'll see you Monday. HR calls me. They do their little rigmarole back and forth. And I said, no, this is the number that I want. They approved it, and I started Monday. I was just like, holy smokes, that's crazy.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And then it just went up from there. IT, obviously blew up.
Yeah.
The IT world that's crazy. And I think you asked whether I like being in the Air Force. I like the camaraderie. Mm-hmm. I love the
structure.
Yeah, I love the structure. Like, the people that I work with most of them were amazing. I mean, there were some, just incredible people. So, I really enjoyed my Air Force experience, my military experience. I loved it. But I knew I had to move on.
Yeah.
And just, cling to that. So, but I didn't particularly like IT. I still don't. I started an IT company because there's
it's lucrative.
Yeah, it is lucrative, and I get to exercise what I like to do, which is service and serve people. Mm. And a lot of people don't. They need it so badly. Like, they don't know what they're doing with computers, and it's just like, well, I can help.
It's
and
true.
I can start recruiting people and training people up and helping people to help people. So I enjoy that aspect. I like leading people and developing people and serving people. And IT is just
it's like an avenue for you to be able to mentor and help people.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. So we've done that.
When was that? What year was that when you started the IT
company? I started that in May of 2013.
Okay. So this is early cloud.
Yeah. This is AWS is a brand new thing. Yep. Maybe not brand new. It's been out for a few years.
It's just gaining traction at that point.
Correct. Yeah. And I started. It's funny because my entire career, because I was tied to Intel shops, I did a lot of big enterprise stuff. So I didn't really do any small, like the SMB world is not. Yeah. I'm like, what is SMB?
Oh, wow.
Or what is managed services? Like, I don't know what that is. Like, I know there's a massive data center that's storing our data, and we're connected to it, via some encryption modules. And, and I've got to, figure out ways to help them source, information back and forth, databases. And the old days of Unix, stuff like that.
So you mostly work with higher end enterprises, like bigger companies.
Huge, like Accenture, Northrop Grumman, GDIT, that type of stuff.
Wow.
Yeah. So then when
were you doing their cloud? Were you doing their AWS? Was it primarily AWS?
Yeah. So in the military, cloud wasn't a thing yet.
Yeah.
When I came out as a contractor, that was 2006. VMware was the virtualization was the zing word. So cloud wasn't quite the zing word yet.
Yeah. Still kind of isn't in the military to
yes,
this day.
Well, cloud,
because they have
cloud is everything now.
Private servers.
Cloud One and all this weird stuff out there, which unfortunately because I haven't been very technical. I'm more managing people now. I just you lose some of that stuff, but
well, it evolves so quickly.
Yeah, and it does. It moves very fast. When I got out, virtualization was the big thing.
Yeah, and
not a lot of people were dabbling with it. My second job with General Dynamics. I ended up in a shop that trains a bunch of cyber, people, and they were like, "Hey, can you transition this physical stuff into virtual stuff?" And I was like, "Sure, I'll give it a go."
Yeah.
And word got out that I was doing that, and I was still part of a reserve unit. So a couple of the guys that I work with, Paul Boughton and Dave Street, were like, "Hey, Smartronix, which is the company I spent most of the time with as a contractor, they're looking for a guy like you. Do you want a job?" And I was like, "I like my job. And I'm getting paid stupid money. Like, you guys got to pay me really stupid money, for me to go over there. So I'm happy where I'm at."
Yeah.
So they kept recruiting me. They started like in September, and by February, I was sitting in front of one of my other mentors. His name's Brian Brown. I don't know if you've met Brian Brown.
No, I don't. Maybe.
He was one of the owners for Smartronix, which the company has since been bought out, and it's now called SMX. But great company to work for at the time when I worked for them. Brian was a partner. I didn't know this, but I always thought, I was like, there's something different about how he operates. He operates like he owns this place. Anyways, I go into a little conference table. He kicks his feet up, and he's like, I heard you know how to do virtualization. And I was like, yeah, I'm dabbling on it. He's like, do you like to travel? I was like, not really. I like my family. And he's like, well, you'll be required to travel a little bit. I was like, that's fine. He's like, how much you want to get paid? And I remember looking at Paul Boughton. He's the guy that's recruiting me. And I was like, I say the stupid number? And he's like, say it. And I said the stupid number. He's like, all right, fine. All right, we'll let you know when you start.
You're like, did I say that? I meant.
I meant what I really meant, yeah. I should have thrown some stupid numbers out there, but I was super content. I started my first day. It's funny. I think it was February or March with them, and it was Snowmageddon in Maryland. So my first day, Paul calls me and he's like, "Hey, Monday, show up to VPS. We're flying to Maryland to the headquarters." And I was like, "For how long?" He's like, "Don't worry about it. Just that's your first day at work." And fly up there to snow like as tall as Target, retail centers. When I get there, and I tell this story often because this is the culture of this company. When I get there, we get to a building that Smartronics has just built brand new. And the second person that greets me is the owner. At the time, I didn't know it was him, John Paris. And man, the most positive, energetic guy you've ever met. And I'm hyped because I'm a positivity guy. And I'm like, man, I like this dude.
Yeah.
Who is this dude? So he takes me on a whole tour. Like, he's excited. Like, it's a brand new car. Like, we're doing 3D printing over here, and we're doing, all kinds of cool stuff over here. That's our classified stuff. These are pods that we make for, the Marines to do SATCOM stuff. And I'm like, man, this guy really knows everything about this place. And then we go back into the conference room. He drops me off. He's like, Teddy, it was nice meeting you. Welcome to the team. And Paul happens to come back in, and he's like, do you know who that was? And I was like, I have no idea. He said his name was John. He's like, that's the owner of the company, John Paris. And I was like, oh, okay.
Cool.
And he knew, at the time, I think we were only 400 employees. He knew everybody's name. Everybody's name. They got much bigger.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard to keep up with that. But it was like a very family-oriented company.
That's awesome.
And they took care of people that they shouldn't have taken care of. That's how well they took care of people. It was like, that guy should not be here, but he started with them, so
Yeah.
they're loyalists.
Loyal,
you know what I mean?
yeah. Which is that's how you build a good team,
huge,
build
yeah.
a good company.
Yeah, huge. I learned a lot through that. I was on a bunch of proposal, teams and stuff like that. So I started to get wind of, okay, maybe rewind. When I joined the military, I had this notepad, and I would draw like logos and stuff. Because in my mind, I always thought, I'm not going to work for somebody the rest of my life. I don't know when that's not going to happen, but at some point, I'm going to start something, and I'm going to work for myself. And I remember writing logos, drawing stuff. And that's the name of my company now, Takaba. It's just a play on my name. Like, Teddy Casanova is my mom's maiden name, and Batarao is my dad's last name. So that's what it came up. Nobody down here can pronounce it, which sucks. Business-wise, but it's like, I'm going to hold on to it. So...
Well, that means something to you.
Yeah, exactly. So I learned a lot in that company under Brian and just watching their culture. And I was like, man, I would love to have something like that someday. Yeah. And even though I'm not passionate about IT, I like the idea of having, casting vision, creating culture
business.
And
creating your own business.
Yeah.
And what I love, all the different places I worked at before starting my own, I was always learning from the owners, learning from the leadership, learning how they. Yeah. That's what I was really doing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, their leadership skills, their how they treat people. Yeah. You get to learn the good and bad too. There's bad leaders.
Yeah.
I won't say his name, but Brian, he put me under one guy that was a micromanager. The dude was doing the best he knew how. He was not a great leader at all. And I know you guys are the same as me. Like, when we go into a room, you don't have to be a SEAL or a snake eater, Green Beret. Like, A-types, they go into the room and they evaluate, all right, who's leading this thing? If nobody's leading it, then I'm going to lead it, right? Or if the guy that's leading it, I feel in my mind like I can out-lead that guy, then you're going to lose influence with me. Like, I'm not going to have a lot of, my interest is going to wane really quickly because I'm like, this is lame. Like, I'm not going to be part of something where I can outlead that guy. Like, and I'm supposed to know nothing. Like, I can't do this, you know. So I learned real quick to like evaluate. All right, I don't want to put myself under somebody who's a terrible leader. I just don't. And especially now that I can make that decision, I'm not going to do that. So,
Yeah.
and then helping my kids, you know, help evaluate that. Like, hey, you got to find good leaders and then learn from them. And then when you're under bad leaders, because, you know, when you're an employee, you're going to end up in situations where there's people that have never been trained to lead, or they just, you know.
One of the questions I ask myself a lot is, hey, is this person, my first question is always, are they the right fit?
Yeah.
And do I have them in the right place?
Right.
Because sometimes I'll put someone in a position that I'm like, they were really good here, but when I move them up, man, they're not so good here. Sometimes it's just a really bad fit. I mean, there's some guys that's just like, hey, you know, I shouldn't have hired you to begin with.
Right.
Or like it's just not working.
You're just
out.
not utilizing their strengths. It's like that's all it is. It's like, okay, you're not good at this. Let's shift you over here and see how you do at this.
That's a big deal.
Yeah.
That's huge. Yeah, people are. I mean, I've learned. I've invested so much in like personality traits and stuff like that. Just not just in, you know, our marriage, but like across teams and stuff.
Yeah.
It's just people are wired differently.
Yeah.
And we're all judgy.
Yeah.
And it's like, you're not doing it the way I want to do it. And it's like, well, they some people just can't.
Yeah.
Some people literally can't.
I take that on a lot of going, man, if they're failing, my first question is always going back to, man, how am I setting them up to fail?
That's right. Yeah. Yeah. It's probably,
Extreme ownership, Dave?
No, not extreme ownership. Because sometimes I'm like, hey, you just need to work, dude.
Yeah.
for sure.
You know, but I do want to go to me first and go, okay, is this part, I want to take an inventory on myself and go, okay, is this part of me setting them up in the wrong way?
For sure. Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting leading people, especially in from an entrepreneurial perspective. It's like you do a lot of self-evaluation.
Yeah.
Hopefully you do.
You should.
You should.
I mean, at the end of the day, the buck stops with you.
That's right.
And especially if you're the one in charge.
That's right.
Yeah, if somebody's not doing their job correctly, it's like, well, did I communicate to them correctly what their job is? Did I lay out my expectations and guidelines?
Yeah.
And that's why, I mean, when we hire people, and then also like in the military too, as a leader, I would lay out, like, I would have a contract and I'd just be like, here, these are my expectations of, everything and my guidelines, and I would have them read it over, and then if they agreed with it, they'd sign it.
Nice.
And that way, when they didn't meet those expectations or
That's on them,
guidelines,
yeah.
you could be like, hey, dude, you signed this. You agreed to be doing this. And it's just a way you can hold people accountable, but it also gives them something to achieve. Like it gives them a compass to be like, okay, this is, the way that we're going, and to not go astray.
For sure. Yeah, I like, it's funny because since we're on that topic, firing people sucks. I mean, it's difficult, but it's a lot easier when you do set the, the standard, because they can self-select out. That has made it a lot easier. Having those conversations where it's like, hey, do you think you met the standard? No. What would you do in my position? And often they go, I would probably let myself go. Then that's what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
And I'm not a 3-strike guy, unfortunately.
Yeah.
I'm a 2-strike guy. I was like, I told you once.
Yeah.
The next time we're going to have this conversation again, and you're going to self-select out. So.
Yeah.
But it sucks because it's like they're making, you're paying their salary. Mm-hmm. They're supporting potentially their family and their kids. And it's just like, and I think about that stuff. I was like, he's going to go home. Now, he's the one that made the mistake, but it's hard on my heart because it's just like, my gosh, you're going to have to go and have a terrible conversation with your wife and your kids and
Yeah.
But it may be the best thing for you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, truly.
You can't
Truly,
enable them.
sometimes if I'm guilty of anything, it's keeping people too long.
That's
when you're like,
Well, and
hey,
that puts a hurting on your own business, and it's like now you're spending that much more energy trying to fix this individual or babysit them. And I get, like, you guys have good hearts, and so I'm the same way. Like, I can't stand like firing somebody but it's like at the end of the day, it's like, dude, if you're hurting our goal,
you're hurting the culture of the company,
culture,
yeah.
it's like, dude, you got to go.
Well, and sometimes you're even hurting that individual from growing and learning
Yeah.
what they need to learn, or to finding their right fit. Sometimes it's just like, hey, this isn't the position, this
100%.
isn't the
Yeah.
career for you.
Right. Yeah, I think people, when we were all young, we probably had ideas of what we thought we wanted to do. And now when you look back, you think, well, I'm glad I didn't end up in that, that world. And that's why I said, like, I don't have an engineering mind. I thought that's what I want. I'm more creative and more like Johnny on the spot. Like, I'm very, reactive. And I like being a problem solver when the problem arises right now. I like to have some planning to that. But if you throw something at me, I'm not going to freak out. I'm just going to go, okay, there's a problem. Let's, let's take a step back and let's look at strategies to fix that thing.
Yeah.
And I get pumped when somebody throws a wrench at me. I'm like, all right, let's figure it out. So I feel alive.
Yeah.
And the IT world is a very good outlet for that.
Yeah, which is in some ways is possibly even better that you're not engineer type. I struggled a lot in the beginning of going, okay, I know how to fix I know how to do this. So instead of paying someone else and building a team, I was fixing it.
You were doing it.
And so when you're
that's the male gene.
Yeah, and then pretty soon, man, you're working.
Yeah, you're overwhelmed.
Well, you're wearing
24/7.
yourself thin. Yeah.
Yeah, you got to replace yourself.
Yes.
Yeah, you've got to replace yourself. And that comes with maturity, You've got to learn how to develop people, trust them, There's people way more talented than us, to be honest. Like, I think if you're going to scale anything, if we think about guys like Elon and the guys that are doing these massive things, they're just really good at recruiting really, really smart people.
Yeah.
So, and that's their key to unlock, scale.
And you talk about having to put aside ego,
Big time.
like
Yeah.
the more that you can put it aside and go, hey, you know what? I'm a mediocre developer. Like, there are people, especially in specific parts of it, right? Like you got an AWS backend DevOps guy. You have these different types of IT guys.
Back end, front end, middleware,
And then you're like, specific guys are incredible at that, and they'll do things in a fraction of the time they would take me and do it better.
Yep, that's right.
And
they're out there, and they're glad to be on a team. They don't want to own a business. They don't want to run a business. It's funny. I hear this question a lot pop up on Instagrams or social media. It's like, do you think everybody can be business owner, entrepreneur? Which I feel like entrepreneur is kind of played out. That word's played out. Like, really, the old classic thing is, can you run a business, whether it's just you or 10 people, 20 people, whatever. And I think some people have a stomach for it and some people don't.
Yeah.
That's just the reality.
Yeah.
And it doesn't mean that
You can't
one's
do it.
better than the other. Like, I think about my buddies that I just went to lunch with a couple of my friends that are still contractors, and they get paid stupid money to do AWS stuff. And I think they only have to go. They clock in at 8, and they're out by 4:30 or 5, and on the weekends they're off. And that's not a reality for a business owner. Like, when somebody says it's Friday, it's like, to me that means nothing.
Nothing.
That
Yeah.
means absolutely
Nothing.
nothing. I run a couple coffee shops and a IT company, and I was like, Friday, Saturday, Sunday is our busiest day. Like, that means weekends mean nothing to me. Like, Thursdays actually is kind of like a day off for me. So,
And you own it. You own it all the time.
Yeah. And you can't, it's funny, when we launched these coffee shops, unintentionally, the time gets soaked up. You only have so much time. So I took a step back from the IT side, and it felt it. Like, my guys felt it. They're like, hey, you're not around. Like, the customers felt it. And I'm trying to, shift focus back to that, because that's kind of like pays our bills as we put all the money in the coffee shops. And it's just like, man, you get spread thin, and like you're saying, like, you can't do everything.
What motivated you to start a coffee shop then?
Yeah. So this is a crazy story. When I was still in the Air Force, I just got back from Korea in 2002, and I went to lunch in Burrito del Sol in downtown Fort Walton. And there's a downtown.
Shout out to Burrito del Sol,
Yeah,
the
shout out to
best
Burrito del
burrito
Sol.
place in this area.
Yeah. And I was like, you know what? I want something hot to drink or something. And I just happened to be walking in that whole area, and the little coffee shops there. It's called Ma's Coffee Roasters. And I walk in, and the owner, Jim Moss, is, he's behind the register, and they got a little barista. And he's got a wall full of beans, like, from a bunch of different countries that he roasted. And I saw Puerto Rico, and I was like, hey, I'm from Puerto Rico. Like, I'd love to try that coffee. And he goes, well, you got to buy a pound if you want to try it. And at the time, it was like $28 a pound. Puerto Rico's pretty expensive. It's even more expensive now. And I was like, in my head, I was like, I'm not going to walk home. You know, Lupe would kill me if I showed up with a $30 bag of coffee. Like, that's crazy. I was like, can I at least taste it before I, buy some coffee? And he's like, well, no, you can't just taste it. He's like, you got to buy a bag and then you can come back and buy another bag. And I was like, all right. So I started to walk out, and he's kind of, Jim is not the most customer service oriented guy.
It doesn't sound like
crude,
it.
Yeah. So he essentially kicks me out. So I'm kind of walking out, head down, kind of bummed out, like, man, I wanted to try this coffee. And he's like, come back. I'll make you a French press. So he grinds the bean, makes a French press, and I take a sip of this coffee, and I was just blown away. I was just like, what the heck is this stuff? And because, growing up in the Navy, it was Folgers. At my house is Folgers or Max
Oh, yeah,
Fuller,
dude.
Cigarette butts everywhere. Like, I was like, that's what I thought
Navy
coffee
coffee, yeah.
And I had that coffee, and I was just like, holy crap, this is the best thing I ever put in my mouth coffee-wise. I was like, this is crazy.
Yeah.
I was like, how do you make this? He was like, I'm a roaster. I'm a master roaster, and I roast all my coffees. I know what I'm doing. I was like, all right. And then that gave me wind into the specialty coffee realm, which I was like, all right, cool. So there's more people like him. So anywhere I'd go, I'd try to chase that same taste, and I could never find it. I was like, I found all these different little coffee shops, but nobody seems to roast like you. What the heck? What's your secret? And anyways, I befriended him, started to build a relationship with him. I'm still in the Air Force at the time. Then I got out, became a contractor, and then I wanted to launch my company. I thought, someday when I get onto some money, I'm going to buy you out. He's like, I'll never sell. And about 3 years ago, he calls me up and he's like, Teddy, I'm dying. I need somebody to take care of my wife, Trixie, and I thought about you. Will you be my partner for coffee? And I was like, absolutely. So anytime, in between that whole time, we'd become good friends. I like building long, deep relationships. I'm not like a surface guy. I like, if you're my friend, like, I'm going to invite you over to my house. We're going to break bread together. Like, I'm going to see you a lot. I want to know who you are. Like, I don't want to just, and I'm trying to, especially because of what God has done for me, I want to share that in a relational way. I don't want to be the guy in the corner, like, popcorning people, like, hey, come into the kingdom, accept the gospel. Like, I think that's so ineffective. I want to build a deep relationship. I don't want people to see, who I am and why I'm that way. And then they're going to have to reconcile, man, he believes in this God. Maybe I should look into it. And then I can help them, guide them along.
Yeah.
And that's really my motive. I mean, if you're watching this, that's my motive when I build a friendship. It's like, you don't have to. You don't ever have to take a step that way. But my friendship is, I want to be a real friend, not just, I'm not after anything. I want to break bread or have a good cup of coffee. So he calls me, he tells me that, and then he's taught me everything about coffee. And so we opened up the Destin shop. It's been about 17 months now. Wow. And then 7 weeks ago, we finalized the deal for the Fort Walton Beach shop. So we own both of them now. And then we're trying to open up, 10, 20 more in the next 5 years.
Fort Walton one right across the street from
Burrito
del Sol?
Yep.
And then so is the Destin one? Or?
The Destin one is by the Destin DMV.
Okay.
Behind Walmart.
Gotcha.
Collins Drive, yeah. So, yeah, that's how I got into coffee.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's
it was kind of like a little idea. At first it was one of those things where, I started nerding out on coffee, and I was like, I really like coffee. And I'm really chasing that awesome coffee taste. And then I thought, I would hang out at the coffee shop with him, and I was like, a coffee shop is very, very social. So you get to interact with people. And I thought, this is crazy. Like, I can sit behind this counter and talk to every single person.
It's right up your alley.
Yeah, and I love that. I was like, I can find out where these people are from and relate to them. And the next people come up and have another quick conversation. And to me, I get pumped up by that. I'm like, this is so cool.
You're like an extrovert.
Yeah, huge extrovert.
Well, it's coffee shops are one of the best ways building a community, because that's really what it sounds like.
Huge.
Is kind of your why behind it, building community.
Yeah. And it has been. I mean, I like being part of the community. I like to be a benefit to the community, and I want to serve whatever I do, I want to try to do the best that I can at it. So, and and our coffee won in 2019. There's a big competition called the Golden Bean Award. And you compete with every specialty roaster in the United States. About 400 and 500 contestants come in. In 2019, 2 of our blends won. So the espresso roast and the house blend.
Hey, what's up, guys? So when I'm not doing the podcast, I'm doing a lot of traveling. I put on training all over the country for LE and civilians. I also travel a lot for my nonprofit, the Pipe Hitter Foundation. And as you guys know, travel, going back and forth, can wear you down. But this past year, I have found the antidote. So let me put you on to Aquavita, Destin's premier IV therapy and oxygen bar. This place is owned and operated by a board-certified ER physician with over 23 years of experience, so you know your health is in good hands. Every IV drip is mixed to Board of Pharmacy standards and backed by CDC-level infection control. Whether you're dealing with a fatigue, a hangover, jet lag, stress, immunity issues, or even PMS, they've got custom vitamin drips and boosters tailored just for that. When you go inside, the place is pretty awesome. It puts you at ease right when you go in there. They have comfy lounge chairs, which are perfect for singles or couples, full group sessions. And you can even book the whole space for bachelor or bachelorette parties, race day recovery, or wellness events. While you're in there, they go the extra mile too. They'll give you blankets, sleep masks, earplugs, aromatherapy oxygen, all complimentary. And the best part, every visit includes direct care from the physician and experienced RNs, all focused on fast, safe, and affordable wellness. So if you're in the Destin area, hit up Aquavita. Your body will definitely thank you.
So we hold the title for 2019. It's in Scottsdale now. Screw those people. We'll try to get it back over here. But our coffee's that good, like in this little town.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. So
have you been able to come into those coffee shops and build more of a communal atmosphere?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely. It's funny. One of the things that we try to train all the baristas in is like get to know people's names. Try to memorize people's names and try to
that matters.
Try to find out. What's their deal? What makes them tick? Why are they here? If they're visiting, try to because what ends up happening is people come in from all over the place. We've got a lot of Minnesota that comes in, a lot of Michigan, and it depends on what time of the year is. Right now, we've got a lot of Arkansas, which is very interesting. Arkansas, and Oklahoma, and Texas. And they find our spot, and most people, 99% of them are like, holy crap, this coffee is really good. So then they come the whole week they're here.
Yeah.
So you get to know them. You get to know what they're about, what they do, that type of stuff. And you get to make, some good networks. Outside of that, it's like a local hub. So we purposely put it on Commons Drive. We were looking on 98, and we thought that's going to be too touristy facing. I think we still would have done all right, but then the rents are higher. All your costs end up being higher. So we found this spot, and what ends up happening is we're kind of in a mix of all these apartment complexes, Regatta Bay, Kelly Plantation, Indian Bayou. So all the locals, when tourist season is over, all the locals have like a congregating place. So there's different ideologies out there, and I don't care. I get along with everybody. In my mind, the way I look at people, I go, I probably agree with you on 98% of stuff. You may have some political ideology that I disagree with, or some religious ideology that I disagree with. But 98% of probably what we talk about is going to be, agreeable. So we have groups that come in, from both sides of the aisle, and they take over the shop, and we serve them as much as we can. Because my thought is, if I'm going to be part of the community, I'm going to try to be an influence, then I've got to get along with everybody.
Yeah.
And I've got to find consensus with everybody. I can't focus on some stupid, if somebody's wearing a red hat versus a different, hat.
Well, no, you don't want to completely
people,
ostracize a whole section just
No.
because
No.
they have different views than you.
Because that's not communal for me.
No, it's
to
not.
me, that's not community. And I don't concentrate. It's funny when you talk about community. I think the way you build community is one man at a time, or one couple at a time. So if I go somewhere brand new, I'm gonna try to, find somebody who's looking for mentorship, and teach them as much as I can, bring them in as a friend, and then they have a circle of friends and a network because I'm not from there, and I'll start to get introduced, to that circle, and then that bleeds out to different stuff. So, and then I will either develop a community or tie into an existing community. So this idea of creating community just out of nothing
Doesn't look like that.
Doesn't work. It just doesn't work. It's really hard.
Is your wife involved with it quite a bit? I
All
mean,
the time.
y'all tend to, it seems like you guys are big on ministering to younger couples.
Absolutely. Yeah. She's doing a Bible study right now at the coffee shop.
Awesome.
So they just finished a book called Love and Respect, and then they just shifted over to love languages.
Yeah.
And then they'll do something.
Oh, the old love languages.
Love
Yeah,
languages.
that's Eddie's favorite.
So,
I've done that. I've done that study a long time ago.
yeah, same here.
Eddie's
Yeah.
love language is suffering.
Yes.
I think every man's love language is physical touch. It's funny when you read the different categories, and it's like, no, physical touch.
Yeah.
She means cuddling. You mean cuddling is the gateway.
Netflix and chill.
Exactly. So, but yeah, look, it's funny. I have worked so hard to set up an environment where I can spend a lot of time with my wife and a lot of time with my kids. Not they're out of the house now, except for my youngest one. He's a senior. But what I didn't want was to have regret when it comes to time with my family.
Yeah.
I didn't want my kids to grow up and end up somewhere and talk trash about my dad was never around.
Yeah.
My mom was never around. It's like they will never be able to say that. If they ever say that, they'll be on the same podcast as some of the guys we were talking about.
Yeah.
Getting exposed. Like that would never happen.
They probably have the opposite problem.
Exactly.
They're always around.
Exactly. I did it so much that, and it's funny, I talked about my old boss, Brian Brown. He brought me into the office one time because I would leave. If it was 5 o'clock and there was nothing going on, I'm out the door. I'm not going to stay longer to appease and, to pretend like I'm this,
Yeah.
this guy that's, whatever you need me to do. Like,
Being a suck
I don't
up.
play that stupid game.
Yeah.
My family is my, at the time was the top priority, still is. And I would leave, and he brought me into the office, and he's like, hey, you notice everybody else is staying? I was like, yep. And he's like, why don't you stay? Put more work in it. I was like, because I have a wife and a kid and kids that I want to go spend time with. And he's like, and he would name people. He's like, well, that guy's staying longer. And I was like, that guy, his wife hates his guts, and he's previously divorced.
Yeah.
I don't want that life.
Yep.
And he would, he would quickly shut up. He would tell you on the spot too. He's like, he liked that I was I have a backbone.
Yeah. Well, you have
It's like,
you
you
have
can fire me.
principles. Yeah.
Like if that's your standard, that's fine. I'm not gonna yield to that.
Yeah.
You're not gonna pit Smarttronics against my family. Like I'll pick my family all day long.
Yeah.
I'll go work at Lowe's if I have to. But I'm way smarter than that, so I don't have to. It's like
Yeah. Who cares if, hey, you got $1 million in the bank or 10 million in the bank or 50 million? It's like, man, the freedom of the time is the biggest flex.
That's
you
right.
know, that, hey, we live below our means,
That's
that
right.
we're not in financial debt,
that's right.
And who cares, this car, that
Yeah.
car.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's
whether your
very-
house
Title
is
is, I don't care,
5,500 square feet
Yeah,
or
I
it's
don't care.
2,500 square feet.
Yep.
Like, do you have the freedom to wake up and be able to pursue the things that
That's
matter
right.
to you?
That's right.
And
That takes some maturity, though, to have that mindset, or just if you don't stand on principles, which, listening to you talk about your whole story, I mean, the one thing I'm getting out of it is like you're definitely a people person, but then your marriage started off on principle. Like your wife's like, nope, you're gonna marry me, right? And like that sets the standard. It's like, okay, we got married off of principle, and then you lead your life off principle. But I think it's very easy, and I've seen it, and I'm guilty of it as well. For men, especially when we find our jobs and like we're doing what we need to do to provide for the family, you can get sucked into that vortex at that job of like, oh, it's not enough. Now I have to do the next thing, and now I have to go out, stay late and suck up to the boss, and look at me, I'm doing these things. And yeah, that's great. You might succeed that way. You probably will. You might rise to the ranks, but like you just said, the other half of you, which is your family, is suffering for
That's
it.
right.
It doesn't matter how much money you're putting in the bank, and I'm sure at first, your wife will be like, "Oh my gosh, like this is great," but then she's sitting there with all this money. You're never home. Your kids never get to see you, and I see it a lot, especially in our last, my last community, in the special operations or just military in general. and I was almost went this route, is like, guys, well, you'll keep going because that is who, like, this is what
That's
I
your
am.
identity, yeah.
It's my identity. And dudes will stay in for 30, get out, go contract because that's all they know. And then at the end of the day, man, I can't tell you how many guys I know. It's like they get out at 50 after, you know, giving their blood, sweat, and tears to whatever job you have, and they have nothing waiting for them.
And that's a bad,
And
that's
that's
just such a sad, and it's like, here's what actually happened. It's funny because, I remember, I tell the guys, there's my group of community, there was a period of time when I first moved to Destin, it was 2013 when I moved to Destin, I drove from Destin to Shalimar when I was still working in the office. And I remember I would wrestle with God and I would pray and I was like, God, I'm just going to, because I'm afraid that my career is going to be, you know, at risk because I'm, you know, being looked at and they're telling me that I'm leaving and I'm not doing what these other guys are doing. Maybe what I do is I take a break from, you know, I just take a year of just, you know, smashing my career. I'm just going to, you know, go head down and I'm not going to care about anything else except for my career. And then a year later when I get to the rank that I want, I'll come out of the water and take a breath and everything will be fine. And God would tell me that's a lie. It's such a lie.
It is a lie.
What's funny about that whole situation is I actually surpassed all my peers while I did what I did.
Yeah.
And I think the reason was people are like, that guy, you know.
He squared away
I'm
at
not
work
saying I was
and
the best
off work.
worker or I'm the smartest or anything like that, but like when you go up, when you go from like systems engineer to like, you know, project manager to then they're looking at you for program manager, you're dealing more with people.
Yeah.
You're not dealing
100%.
with like technical, you know, you're not on a keyboard and it's like, you've got to be able to have some, you know, you got to have some EQ, not IQ. That's
Well, when you're getting promoted to that kind of level too, the person that's promoting you is not just looking at your quality of work while you're there. Like they can be like, oh, this guy, he stays late, his quality of work's good. So they're looking at well-rounded, like what's his family life like? Is this
100%.
guy going to bring in any toxicity because his family life is suffering? Because eventually it will if you're not paying attention to both.
Yeah. I mean, and I'll tell you what, I'll tell you a story. I was in Little Rock, and we were trying to do some work for the medical unit there, and it wasn't going well. All the clinicians and the doctors were opposed to this upgrade that we were doing that was being forced down from the Air Force. The program manager was not there at the time, so they were like, hey, we need somebody to do this brief. And I was like, I'll stand in front of people all day long. I don't care. I'll go from the hip, and I'll just tell them the way it is. There was a full-board colonel in 06 that was running the hospital. He sat in the back, and I go up there to the briefing, and I go, listen, guys, I know you guys don't want this to happen. I know it sucks, but we're here to try to help you, and we need information from you, and we need consensus, and they're going to push us down one way or another. Like, that's the reality. You guys know how the military operates. And I said a bunch of other stuff. I got a standing ovation, right? Because they were like, fine, we'll work with you. So
You're
they
being
let
honest.
They opened up the gates. They let us work with him. But unfortunately, I pissed off the 06 because he had an agenda. So then, you know, a couple EVPs come into town and they're like, hey, you can't say, you know, that's our customer, not these people. That was our customer and you shit on him. And I was like, but I got the floodgates open. Like we got to actually do what we're supposed to do down here. So which one do you want, right? So I got, you know, they made it seem like they slapped me upside the head when they didn't. They knew that I did the right thing. And then they played the game with that guy and said, hey, you know, we'll get rid of him or something like that. But, so they took care of me, which is nice. So that's the kind of, you know, that's the type of guy that I was. I was just like, I'm just going to give it to you guys the way it is. We can sit here and do nothing, and you guys can pay us, and we can burn money, or you can let us do it, and the Air Force is going to push it down anyways. I know it sucks, but we're here to try to help. And that guy got butt hurt, and I didn't care. I was like, I'm here to do work. So, yeah, it's just, I still, my career, and as a contractor, you know, I got to the point where I never thought I would get to that level, to be honest, because I thought people would look down at, you know, how I lived my life, and I was just like, no, they honored it.
Yeah.
And God's the one that honored it. He was like, hey, I'll take care of you. And I was like, every step of the way. It's so interesting because when we opened up the coffee shops, this is not all, roses and,
It never
fireworks.
is. Yeah.
It was opening up there was a point where I actually had a bunch of money in a bank. And that feels comfortable. It's like
Before the coffee shops. Yeah.
And then when you launch something like that, there's a humongous capital expenditure.
Well,
Humongous.
what's wild when you go from IT to any traditional business, like every traditional business
brick
that I've
and
done
mortar?
since.
Yeah.
Oh,
The barrier
dude.
to entry for
You're
IT
like,
is
there's
zero.
a whole. You're like, man, there's no business like tech, but then you're like, oh my gosh, we're dealing on margins and
Yes.
sometimes slight.
Yeah, and big money. Like,
And you're
Yeah.
looking at years out before.
before you get any other return, a
Yeah.
1,000,000%. Yeah.
Yeah, you got to be willing to take losses.
Yeah, and it's a huge risk, and it wasn't like I was excited to do it. But
Yeah.
the challenge was you went from being cash heavy to cash broke,
Yes.
and now you're leveraged, and it's just like
Yeah, and
that's
you-
stressful. And it's so
yeah.
funny while we're going through it. I think every year I feel like God's trying to tell me something specific. And in 2022, when we started the thing, from 22 to 23, there was a lot of times where I was like, you know what, I'll just shut it down. I don't care.
Yeah.
Forget the coffee shop. Like, we'll do it another time. And I literally felt like God would tell me, do not retreat. Your theme for this year and the next year is do not retreat. Do not retreat.
Cool.
And that helped me not just with the coffee shop, but with a lot of stuff. Because
Yeah.
as I get older, it's interesting. I've been dealing with more anxiety as I'm older, which is weird. I was like, I've never been
Yeah.
anxious in my life,
Yeah.
and I don't sleep well anymore. Like I used to. I sleep for 13 hours if you met me before, but I deal with more anxiety. And I think it's because I carry the pressure of, there's people that live their life based on how we make decisions in the business. We helped one of our guys buy a house. He never thought he would buy a house. I was like, of course you're going to buy a house. We're going to make it happen, right? There's people on salary that, you're supporting them. And it's like, if you make one bad step, like that can all go away.
Yeah.
And to me, the money's almost irrelevant. To
Yeah.
me, it's like, man, his life is going to get trashed if I don't do the right thing. And it's
Yeah.
like, you carry a lot of that weight. Maybe,
Well, you didn't start coffee shops for the money. I'll tell you that. Like
No.
you did it, your why. And I'm the same way. Like I have to have a bigger why,
for sure.
And I think your why on that's really community. It sounds like and
1,000,000%,
building.
yeah. And to be fair, so it's not like super hyper spiritual. I did start it because we're a roastery. There's a lot more margin when you control the product than if you just opened up a shop making coffee water.
Yeah.
That's hard. Harder like a 10. We're like hard like a 6, right? There's not a lot of margin when you're at the mercy of buying coffee beans from some other producer and then just handing people, coffee.
Yeah. White labeling and like, there you go.
That's really hard. The margins on that is really, really hard.
Yeah.
Because we buy raw bean and we roast it ourselves, and then we sell a bunch of wholesale and retail bean and use the own product that we have, there's a lot more margin. So
How
the
did
risk
you?
is less.
So you said obviously you got these 2 coffee shops and in the IT business. Like, and obviously you said as you get older, you're dealing with more anxiety, more stress, and naturally, right? You have all these businesses. How are you handling all that, and how are you being able to harness like all that stress and anxiety and actually get through it and continue day to day? Because I think for the listeners out there, there's a lot of like people that, especially guys. I'll just speak to them like guys getting out of the military, right? And that's a very I think most guys when they get out of the military, they're not looking to go do a 9 to 5 again. They're like, hey, I want to be in control of whatever my business, because I just did 20 years of being told what to do.
That's right.
And that is very stressful. So whether they're starting a small business or maybe you have guys that are successful and they're looking to do what you do is expand it. Right. What advice would you give them with dealing with that kind of stress and anxiety?
Man, you better have a community.
Yeah.
You better have some sort of community. That's the thing that I feel like pacifies a lot of that anxiety is people reaffirming you, telling you, hey, things are going okay. Like if you're, and I know you guys are there, like your mind can run into these like scenarios that would never happen, honestly. But they'll run and then like, oh, if this happens and that will happen and that happen. And then, all I need to do is have a conversation with my best friend Bill or Brandon or somebody, and they're like, dude, calm down. Like, what's the likelihood of something like that happening?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, but it's stressing me out. my wife really is the rock when it comes to stuff like that. Like it's funny because I think I'm going to keep a straight face and not, and keep the family, nice and stable. Like she's going to present a problem to me and I'm just going to be, straight face and go, okay, we got this. But really in the inside, I'm just like, crying. But you got to have a good community and you got to be on the same page. Family wise, you've got to be on the same page.
Yeah.
Like, with your spouse, like I said, I've been so intentional. I've spent so much work on trying to be on the same page with my wife as much as possible. We've even developed hobbies together. We do jiu-jitsu together. We work out together. I mean, as much as I can to be on the same page, so that one of us is, in logic mode, not in emotional mode.
Yeah.
And then we can kind of, talk each other off the ledge. But you need some sort of community, and you need some sort of physical outlet too.
Mm-hmm.
You need mentors. You need somebody that has seen what you are going through over and over again, and they can tell you, hey, that's a normal, experience. You're going to get through it. This is how you're going to get through it. I'll help you through it. You need mentors. You need a community. If you've got a spouse, you need to be on the same page.
Yeah, you need to be taking care of yourself.
Yeah,
like
and
it
you
can
need
be
some
easily
kind of physical. Yeah, I mean,
it's
my
easy to
health,
get consumed.
1,000,000%. If your health is compromised, it's funny. One of my biggest fears is I think I'm going to die of like a heart attack or something like that. And sometimes I'll feel my chest and I'm like, oh my gosh, I need to go. I got to whoop to see if my heart's okay and stuff like that. But you got to take care of yourself too. You have to have some sort of outlet, to release.
Yeah.
This
to get you back on track.
I do jiu-jitsu like 6 times a week. So that's a place where I can just go away. I don't have to think about anything. Somebody chokes my face out, hopefully I choke them out. But doing something physical definitely gives me a lot of release. And but I don't stay. When I say I'm anxious, I don't stay there. Like, I pray a lot, I read a lot, and I just keep moving. Just try to put one foot in front of the other constantly.
I relate a lot with that. What I love is I got guys around me, other entrepreneurs, other guys. In some ways, I don't know if it's correct or not, but consider above me in some ways. Some guys only, but even it's wild how something that seems like insurmountable that I've been stressing about. It's in the back of my mind. Francesca's like, "Are you mad at me? What? What's going on?" And it's like I'm not even thinking about you. Like I feel stuck. That's the thing. That's the trigger for me. Is when I feel stuck. That I don't have a way this way or that way. Yeah. And then they'll ask me a simple question or make a simple statement. I'm like, oh yeah. Usually the answer's pretty easy. It's like, oh, call this guy and he'll or do this, and it's like this thing that seemed like I could not. So I don't think we're meant to live.
No, but that's a man problem. It's like I think we're designed in a way where we'll get to a place where we feel stuck because we're constantly trying to solve everything ourselves. It's like I have this, I got that, until you get to that place. And it's hard for us to like call other people or be like, hey man, I need help. I'm stuck here. But that's what it's good about having a good wife. Like we'll be like, why don't you just call this individual? And it almost, because Andrea does it for me all the time too. She's like, simple. What are you doing? And it's usually the simplest answer that is the hardest thing to do for us.
We, as men, and especially in this culture, suck at asking for help.
Yeah.
I still do.
Well, we suck at communication.
It's my pride and my ego.
It really is. And it's just like, even I think about problems that I have now, and I was like, I could probably ask that person. But I feel like what it really is like I should figure out a way. I should not be in this situation. So then I'm going to own it, and I'm going to figure it out on my own. It's just like, well, what you're doing is you're stealing an opportunity for somebody to serve you.
Yeah.
Right? And
100%.
Yeah, that's just the reality. I suck at that, to be honest. It's funny, the coffee shop would not exist because we got to the point where we got so cash poor, we had to raise capital from a couple friends. And the only reason I did this because Lupe was like, dude, you're going to run out of money.
Sure.
And not only are you going to run out of money, you're moving money from the IT company over here now, and you're going to miss payroll. And that is like,
yeah.
I mean,
no go.
I mean, and that is the most stressful. It's like, I don't care if I don't get paid. Like, I'll
Yeah.
figure it out.
Yeah.
I don't care if somebody comes after me for money. I was like, we'll just, bear down and figure it out. But I don't ever want my guys to miss, their paychecks. Like, that just sucks. And, you've got to ask for help. You've got to figure out a way to ask for help because you may not be able to solve it.
Yeah.
You're not that smart. You're not that strong. You're a man, but you've got to learn to ask for help.
Yeah.
So, and I agree. I mean, I think I just suck at it. So I think some of the most successful people, I think about some of these guys that have, you watch some of these YouTube personalities and they just go up to some random person and they just ask him out. I mean, I wish I was that bold, where I just didn't care what people thought about me. But I'm not. So.
Yeah, I think most of us are like that. But on the other spectrum is you are very good at giving help and like giving advice and mentoring because I've seen it. I mean, I don't know how we've had a couple guests in here.
I was telling them that have mentioned him.
Yeah, locally they're like, dude, without Teddy, without Bill, and it's like that says something, man. And that's like just local here where people are giving you guys, the props for like supporting them, getting them through whatever hardships, which says a lot about, you, your character.
Well, and that's
which is awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you, I'll share another story. When I met Bill in 2005, and I may get emotional. So I came home one day in 2000, I think it was 2004. Lupa had packed all her bags, and she was trying to leave. And I remember I was still in the Air Force. I came home and I was just like surprised. I was just like, what the heck is going on? And she was sitting on the end of the bed crying. And talk about being broke. She goes, I'm trying to leave, but we're so broke that I can't even buy a ticket to leave to Washington. So I was kind of excited. I was just like, thinking about the one time you're excited to be broke. And I remember I've grown up, with some kind of spiritual background. And I remember, and this is all after, like, there was some pretty, I don't know how you call them, bad events. So we tried to get pregnant. I was super selfish. I didn't want a kid at the time because I was like, I want to buy cars and have fun. So I yielded and I was just like, all right, well, try to get you pregnant. And then she got pregnant and we had a late miscarriage, and it's like the rug got ripped out from under us, And as a man, because we're problem solvers, it's like I can solve any problem. Like, you don't like your car, let's get a different car. You don't like where you live, let's just move. You don't like that job, screw those people, go get another job. You can't do that when you lose a kid. And it's just like, and I still think about it, I'm just like, holy crap, like, that was the one time that I saw her so devastated and I could do nothing. And I was just like, damn. From that point forward, I remember thinking like, and I struggled with porn and to her, it felt like I was cheating on her, when she would bust me doing that stuff. And I remember thinking I would go to church every Sunday. That was like a traditional thing I would do. And I would sit at the pew. And I remember looking around thinking, I don't want to be like any one of these dudes here.
Yeah.
Like, all these dudes, maybe they're good now, but in my mind, I was like, none of these dudes' lives reflect something that I want to, live like.
Yeah.
That dude's wife sucks. Like, that dude's wife is, he just got a divorce. Like, even the pastor's family sucks. Like, I'm like, there's got to be more to this. So I remember standing in this pew thinking, God, if you're out there, like, here I am, like, I'm in this building where you're supposed to be, like, where the hell are you? My life sucks. And I've been coming to this church, I've been doing this church thing for all this life. Like, there's got to be more to this. That was like 2002, 2003. So our relationship really went into, it just sucked. Lupe went really silent. She probably went into a clinical depression for all we know. And 2004, she tries to leave me. She can't because we're broke. So when I went into, I was sad, so I just spent a bunch of money, money that I didn't have. And in 2005, one of my buddies, Justin Carr, started meeting with Bill. I guess he got here in October, or maybe it was September. And he tells me about it. He's like, hey, you got to meet this guy. He's an Army guy, and he's really, like, blowing my mind Bible-wise. And I was like, and I'm in the Air Force, so I'm like, Army guy. And I was like, dude, why are you talking to some Army dude? And he's like, he's a Black Hawk pilot. And I was like, okay, now that, I'll talk to that guy.
That takes some skill and
I was
intelligence.
like, and I like Black Hawk Down, so I was like, that was one of my favorite movies. And I was like, I'll go talk to him. And it's funny, I went initially to go meet with Bill and Justin because I thought Justin was getting into a cult. And I was like, I'm going to save you from a cult, idiot. Like, I'm going to tell this guy to, fuck off. And I go there, and Bill just starts grilling me. Like, how long have you been a Christian? I was like, I think probably since I was 8. He's like, how many times have you read your Bible? I was like, I don't read the Bible. That's the pastor's job. He's like, oh, really? Give him some stupid, arrogant answers. And I remember leaving thinking, what a jerk. Who is this guy asking me all these stupid questions? But he really challenged me. I left like I had no answers. Oh. And I was like, I should have answers for these freaking questions. And I kept going back to that study to prove him wrong. I was like, I'm a good dude. I didn't say it out loud, but in my mind I thought, I'm going to show up and I'm going to prove to this guy that I'm a good dude. I'm not some dirtbag. Like, I'm trying to do big stuff. And he was super kind. So anyways, all that, fast forward, he started meeting with me 5 in the mornings at Waffle House on Racetrack and Beale Parkway. And he's like, come meet with me. I'll show you how to read the Bible. And I was like, what time? 5 in the morning. I was like, 5 in the morning? That's crazy. He's like, what are you doing at 5 in the morning? I was like, nothing. He's like, exactly.
He's like, they'll be done cleaning up all the blood and everything from the fights the night before by then.
Exactly. Yeah. So I start reading the Bible, and we start in the Gospels, and the Jesus that's in the Gospels when I start reading it is not the Jesus that I grew up thinking of, the floaty, effeminate guy. I was like, this dude is a freaking badass, and I don't even know who the heck this guy is, right? And that starts to transform me. I start to grow some convictions about, who I am and who I need to be and how I need to change. And I remember going to Bill's house. He gets in an argument with his wife in front of me. And of course, growing up in a Hispanic / ethnic house, the arguments are way different in a Latin house. It's like you're flipping tables, they're throwing stuff. Like, that's normal for us. Huh. They get in an argument, and I was like, that's an interesting argument. And then they immediately make up. My how I learned to make up was you give it a couple weeks, and then you talk, and if they talk to you, then you're good, right? That's reconciliation in Puerto Rico.
It's much the same in an Irish family.
Exactly. Yeah. So very similar. And so I see Bill. They get in a huge argument, and I was like, "Should I leave?" He's like, "No, you're good." And then about 5 minutes later, he goes back up to her. He goes, "Honey, will you forgive me? That was not nice what I said." And she goes, "No, you forgive me." And they hug and they kiss, and I was just like looking at them, like what is this? Just happened? Yeah. And I was like, "How did you do that?"
Not one punch was thrown.
I was like, "How did you do that?"
No silent treatment.
And he just, any time that I needed advice or I needed something, or he was always there. And I remember thinking in my mind, I was like, whatever Bill does, that's what I'm going to give my life to. Yeah. Because I was like, I'm 25, and I would meet younger guys, and I would get so pissed because I was like, they know more than me about this stuff, and how? Like, why did nobody tell me this? And in my mind, I'm calculating, like, I'm 25, I'm going to be 30 in 5 years. Like, I'm way behind the power curve, when it comes to this. And all I could think was, I'm giving my life to help other men and other couples figure this freaking thing out. Because it's hard. Yeah. Marriage, even if you've got it all squared away, it's freaking hard. Yeah. If it's not a financial thing, it's we can't have kids. We can't have kids. It's, you don't know how to raise kids. It's like there's so much on that, thing that's just, it's so hard. Yeah. You would all agree. Yes. And it doesn't get easier. It just, you become more mature and you learn how to respond in a more mature way, in a more loving way.
You learn to work as a team.
That's right. But, you got a lot of these young guys and these couples that they're just clueless. And literally they think what I used to think was just, I'll just figure it out. You're not going to figure it out. Yeah. You're not going to figure it out. You're going to create a huge mess. And I just talked to a friend. He's going through it right now. They've been married 25 years. And I illustrated it this way to him because for whatever reason, we wait way too long to ask for help. Mm-hmm. If you go on a trail and there's 2 signs, the right way and the wrong way, and you decide to dabble in the wrong way, and you go down that trail for 25 years, and then you go, shit, I should go back and go down the right one. Well, it's 25 years worth of going down that side. Huh. You got to turn your butt right back around. There's no shortcut. You got to turn right back around and go 25 years the other direction to get to the right direction, to the right trail. For whatever reason, I think people think, well, I've done 20 years worth of unintentional or intentional damage, and I'm going to try to fix that this year. Mm-hmm. It's like, that's not the way it works. You put in work for 25 years. Now you're going to have to put in work for 25 years the other direction.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people don't have a stomach to do that. And I'm glad somebody caught me early on, right? Where I was down that trail, I think we'd been married 7 years at the time. Mm-hmm. So it wasn't that long of a ruck back. And I was like, I thought about so many things. I was like, I don't want to go through this whole process all over again, trying to find, a girl that I like, that's going to like me for who I am. Like, that's treacherous. That's brutal. And I really like my wife, so I was like, I've got to figure something out. When I started walking with God and I met Bill, I thought everything was going to be awesome afterwards. Well, Lupa hates my guts even more then, because she's like, now this is new thing. And she didn't want to relate to me or to any of the people that I started relating to. So then I felt even worse. I was just like, God, I'm doing what I feel like you're asking me to do, and now my wife hates my guts even more. So she cold-shouldered me for like an entire year. And I would wake up, and I'm going to tell this story. All the guys will tell you, this is literally what I prayed. I would wake up every morning. There was an island in our kitchen, and I had my Bible, my journal, and I would literally pray, God, change her heart or kill her, because that's the only exit that I could see in my mind. Obviously, it's a foolish, immature thing to pray, but that's how desperate I was at the time. And about a year later, in 2006, I remember her waking up. This is 5 a.m. I would wake up. She woke up. She had a Bible, some dusty-ass Bible that she found, and she throws it in front of me. She's like, whatever you're doing, it's changed you. What should I read? And I was like, she goes, dude, and don't treat me like one of those guys that you bring around the house. I'm not your little disciple, whatever. And I was like, no problem. And I was like, I would read John, start reading in John. She started reading, and literally it was like lock and step, we became a team.
Dude, that's amazing.
And it's been an incredible ride. Not a perfect ride, but an incredible ride. Yeah. And I wouldn't change a thing. So yeah, that's
an awesome testimony, man.
Yeah. And it was, and so I want to do that for others, and there's hope, and I'm also, the other thing, I've kind of grown, my convictions has changed so much as I've been wrestling with God. Like, I think our culture demonizes divorce so much because there's this overlay of evangelicalism in our, in American society. And, divorce is not the end. It's just not. Sometimes when you're 18 and 19, you make bad decisions. You make a bad decision on picking your mate, and it's just not going to work out. And that's okay. Like, you can go try again. Don't feel like you're, worthless or you're failing God because, you got divorced. Like, that's not that high of a value for him, I think. God's desire is that you would draw close to him and be in deep relationship with him. And he wants the best for you. So I'm also not like, stay in it, and figure it out. Like,
no, try and figure it out to your best of your ability. But at the end of the day, it's like,
if it doesn't, it doesn't.
What are we going to just keep being miserable the rest of our lives? Yeah. Like, okay.
Don't do that.
Yeah. But you should definitely, I agree with you on that. I view it, and this is probably just the Irish Catholic way I was raised, was the same way. Like, you get married, that's it. Like, you don't get divorced. Like, that is against everything. And the way it was put to me growing up, and just through my dad's actions and seeing, how him and my mom were, like, he was like, that's a covenant you're making with this other individual. And like, that means everything. And if you break that covenant, you're breaking it with God as well, which, you're like, okay, I understand. But I do also agree to the fact, like you did, you were praying for a year, but say that went on for years. I mean, at what point is like, she's not going to change, then it's time to go. And like, when I married Andrea, that was a no break, like a deal breaker. She's like, if you are not a Christian and you do not believe in God, then we cannot make this work.
Right.
She's like, I will not marry you if we are not on the same page that way. And at the time, I was, half-ass Catholic. like, oh, yeah. I was like, yeah, no problem.
Whatever you say.
Yeah, I
buddy,
believe in God. And little did I know, it's like when we got married, she's reading the Bible every morning, and I didn't do any of that stuff.
Yeah.
I was like, and she would harp on me, like,
of course.
why aren't you in your Bible? Why aren't you? I'm like, I'll go to church on Sunday. Like, it's fine. But that's...
And he's like, I'm trying to be a better
Yeah, like,
I'm
I'm sending bodies to heaven, all right? But yeah, it also took me through the marriage to be like, okay, I have to start, like, really looking into this and focusing on this. And slowly but slowly I did.
Sure.
I'm a slow learner, but as long as your partner can see that you're attempting, like you're trying.
That's huge.
Yeah, I think that's a huge benefit as well.
Well, Andrea was so faithful through it, and then saw. I mean, it took this. The teams were your idol or your God in that. And
it was my identity. And
when it betrayed you in that sense, or
yeah,
not the teams betrayed you, but
that's what I believed in betrayed me.
Yeah,
and that's what she always said. She's like, you are one stubborn son of a bitch, and she's like, it took God to throw you in a prison cell for you to wake up. And she's like, she's like, I'm glad it happened.
Yeah.
And so am I.
Yeah.
On that aspect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good word.
Yeah, that is, man.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I don't when I minister to a lot of young guys, work with a lot of young guys, but one of the biggest things for me too is you're never I don't think I'm ever going to be at a place, I don't want to be at a place where I don't have other guys above me that I'm going to as well,
1,000,000%.
feeding into me, supporting. I mean, that's just how the body works.
Period.
I'll ask guys sometimes. I'll be like, "Hey, who do you know that you look at their life and say, man, I want my life to look like theirs?"
That's right.
And almost always they don't have someone.
It's crazy. People are so isolated, even more so now after COVID and stuff. Like,
well,
they
COVID
become
and
comfortable, isolated. I don't know. And the challenge is, and we all try to do the same thing. We're trying to help people along the way. Mm-hmm. The challenge that I see is they come to you when it's almost too late, right? Mm-hmm. People try to hyper spiritualize. Well, God's gonna. It's like God. The way the world is laid out, it's very simple. You reap what you sow. Mm-hmm. It's not that hard, right? If you go to the gym 5 days out of 5 days out of a week, you're probably going to look different than the guy that doesn't go to the gym 5 days out of a week. There's no miraculous like make me an IBFF pro or whatever the heck that is. It's like it's not that hard. And so
any shortcut that you take is going to come back on you.
That's right.
Yeah.
So from a relational perspective, it's no different. People try to like hyper spiritualize it and say, well, God's going to honor blah, blah, blah. It's like the covenant that you made. It's like if you were a dirtbag for 20 years, right, and you weren't intentional pursuing your wife for 20 years, it's not going to fix it in
overnight.
3 months hanging out with me and me, you hoping that my wife's going to influence your wife to not leave you. It's like that's not a reality. Now, can we launch you into a different direction? You have to take the helm and point that ship a certain direction. But a lot of guys, unfortunately, they just think, well, that thing has auto drive. It's like, no, it's going somewhere, and you're not directing it, and it's probably going to end up where you don't want it to be.
Yeah.
And your wife's the whole time, she's nagging. It's like you can – I feel like often, and I always put it on men, if something's not right in your household, it's on you, period. Mm-hmm. You're the dude. You are the one that's supposed to have the stomach and the shoulders to carry hard stuff. Mm. She can bear children. You can't do that. So she's a freaking badass just for that. Mm. But as far as like everything else, you should have the stomach. We're the guys that go out and we're like, yeah, we eat snakes and, we can go into the woods and we can eat dirt and, you raw, barefoot, Bigfoot, we'll go excavate him, in Nebraska, like, then man up to that. Right, like
which I just did, just in case nobody's getting that reference.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just take responsibility.
Yeah.
If something's not going right, she is culpable for sure. Like because it's a team and you guys have become one, sure she has culpability. But as far as driving that ship and setting the direction and being intentional, it's on you.
Yeah.
You're the man. Period. It's that simple. And I think what ends up happening is guys will shirk that responsibility because they like comfort. I don't want to argue with her. I just want peace in the household. And it's like, you know.
Yeah. For sure.
I don't know if this is, you know, if we're allowed to, but I don't curse very often, but in this area, I think, fuck that. Like, there's a point where you got to put a flag in the ground and take a stand and go, this is what our family's going to be about. And if you lead and you actually lead well, people will follow.
Yeah. Do you think some of that is also they don't have a good example of what that would look like? Because when you think about your background, when she's talking about, Andrew's talking to you about, hey, you should have a relationship with God, you're thinking of, okay, the pastors and people that you grew up with, and you're like, I don't want to be like that guy.
Well, yeah, I mean, I had a bad taste in my, not a bad taste in my mouth, but I grew up, you know, obviously I was altar boy. My dad was a strict Irish Catholic. Like, we lived in Asia most of my childhood, and it did not matter where we were in Asia. He would find a Catholic church, and we would go to it. And we would go hours out of the way to go to it. And, you know, that really instilled something in me. Like, that was like you know, he was principled, and he's like, this is what matters, and we will honor, you know, God in this way. And he held the priests up to this, on this pedestal. And that I don't believe in, but I understand why he did, because when he grew up, he was very poor. My grandparents did not have the best, you know, there was a lot of alcohol, everything. So he had, I think it was eight kids in the household, dirt poor. And the priests are the ones who stepped in and really helped and took care of the family. Cool. And so that's why he held them in such reverence. But when I grew up and just seeing how like even some of the priests, when I was an altar boy, how they treated, and there was nothing like sexual. I know people were thinking that, but even like they were mean, and it was like, you know, it wasn't something I was like, dude,
You didn't
like
look at
this.
it and go, hey, I want my life to look like.
Heck no, I was like, dude, this is BS. So as soon as I left the house,
most people in church, I don't want my life to look like them.
Yeah,
and unfortunately, and that's, I mean, we can have a whole podcast.
Yeah, that's a whole realm.
When I met Bill and he started helping me walk with God, I had a big ass axe to grind with the Little C church institution. I've kind of grown out of that now, but
you saw Bill's life and you went, man, I want my life, I want my marriage to look like that. I want my life.
This guy, I mean, it's the stuff that seems trivial, but like I was like, he has peace with his wife, and when he argues with her, they make up, and they actually like genuinely make up.
Yeah.
And I thought that's freaking cool.
Just the thought that was possible.
Yeah,
like,
I didn't think that was possible at all. My idea, this is how we grew up. My mom and dad would get into huge arguments, and my dad was pretty like a passive guy, right? Yeah. Probably because he's like, I'll kill you, you know, if I get I'll kill you, right? Super passive, which I love my parents. I want to one of my themes for the next until I die is I want to honor people while they're alive. I hate this idea of honoring people when they die.
Yeah.
It's like he lived for 10 years around you and you said nothing about that guy. And now you're going to honor him when he's dead? He can't even enjoy the honor. You know, I'm like, so my dad is a badass. My mom is a badass. Like, I love you guys. They did the best they knew how, and here we are. Like,
yeah.
I'm a good dude because of my mom and my dad.
Yeah.
Now, they were getting some crazy arguments, like physical, throwing stuff. Like, that was normal for me. I thought that was normal for everybody. And
you and me both.
Back then, it was a little bit more normal.
There would be silence in the house, you know, awkward silence for the house for like weeks, and then they would talk, and then that was it. And then there was like, well, we're back to normal. And I was like, oh, okay, that's how you do it. You give yourself time, and then you come back, and you make up. And that doesn't work, unfortunately.
No.
And my parents they've even matured in that. It's really awesome to see, you know. So when I saw that, I was just like, because it's funny, when Lupa and I would get into arguments, I would get real physical, and we'd throw stuff. And of course, we're broke. It's funny. We laugh about it now, but she would throw the iron, and I would throw the ironing board. And then I'm like, you know, the next day we wake up and we're like, it's broken. And it's like, we can't go to Walmart and buy another one because we're freaking broke, bro. Yeah. Like, ironing on our bed, dude. You know, with a freaking hot pan or something like that.
Those are, looking back, those are some, I mean, it sucked that when it was going on, but those are some of the funniest moments.
Oh, yeah.
Because I was the same way. Like, when we got married, same thing. Like, fights that happened in the house or like these big tantrums and everything, just nothing was talked about afterwards. It was like, swept under the rug, awkward for about a week, and then move on with life. So I was like, that's how we deal with things. And then when I married Andrea, she's very like, let's solve this right now. And I couldn't do it. I'm like, no, I'm pissed. Like, get away from me.
You're like me. I like a good fight.
Yeah.
Even
like,
now,
I was like, I'm already in it. Like, let's do
like,
this.
Yo, you wanna argue, like, especially if I feel justified. Yeah. I'm in all the way.
Yeah.
Bro. Like,
but then it leads to destruction. Like, so the funny one where I came back from deployment one time, and I was like on the deployment schedule still, like up all night, and like I just my whole timing was whacked off. So I was like playing Xbox like till 2 a.m. You know, and she was getting so pissed. Like, she's like, you're a child, you know, like, what is this? And so one night she comes down, rips the Xbox out and just like smashed it. Actually, she threw it at me and it freaking dinged me in the head. And I was like, oh, you want to go crazy? And I got a brand new laptop, smashed that over my knee, and then it just was like escalating from there. That the next morning you wake up and we're like, oh, we got $5,000 of damage. Yeah.
Oh my gosh,
I bet you've put some holes through some
Oh
walls.
yeah, but dude, I've been through the whole gamut, man. Yeah, but that's the beauty, like, of never giving up on your marriage. It's like we worked through all that. We never gave up, and we're like, and we got to points where, I mean, she was probably at her wit's end, and like, this is not going to work. But we would go to counseling, and like we go to different counselors, and this and that. I mean, and just it's that never giving up aspect, and it takes both partners like to really buckle down and be like, okay, how are we going to make this work? And also self-reflection, like, what am I doing to cause this problem?
For sure.
And what can I fix about myself to help her understand? And then she did the same thing for me.
You don't understand. If she would just
Yeah, it's all, and that's
she would, yeah.
and that's the most of people's problem. It's like, oh, it's not me, it's you. And it's like, dude, the first thing you have to do is look in the mirror and be like, what are you doing to cause these issues, and what can you fix?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I do think
extreme ownership.
I do think I had he was a former pastor, and his wife Mike Farney and Dee Farney, and he was a pastor for a little while, but he's from Southern California. He didn't become a believer until like I think his 30s.
Right.
And it was not a churchy experience. It was a genuine convert. You know, some people I'm like, I don't know if what's happened to me has happened to you. Yeah. And he owned a tech company, built it up, sold it. They built a big house out in the country, and then they just served.
That's awesome.
And he was always out there, and they kind of had this open house policy where they brought people in. Mm-hmm. They would feed them, they all on their own dime, and they used their money to serve people. And they would always be out on the porch, always digging through scripture. He was super, super smart, sharp, but and just real practical. No churchy language, you know. And
I like that you use that because that's literally the term that I use. It, and it's not. I don't want to. We won't go there. It's
but it was them that. I mean, I was engaged before I married Francesca. I brought that girl to their house and was like, hey, we're getting them to do some marriage counseling with us. There's no way I'm going to do it without them because I want my life to look like theirs. You know, and they actually came back and were like, hey, you need to call off the date. That's what we believe. We're not saying you don't get married, but you got some stuff y'all need to work through before you do this. And she was like, we're not going to listen to him. I'm like, well, then there's my sign right there. We're not going to get married.
That's wise.
Which, so grateful, right?
Yeah.
You know, I'm like, listen, these people have a marriage that I want my marriage to look even somewhat like when we're older.
Yeah.
And so if they say that, they're wiser than us. The experience of it. And then, you know, when brought Francesca when we were engaged to them and completely clicked. And they would do like 7-hour sessions. We'd eat with them, hang out with them. We saw them argue. We saw them fight. Yeah. We saw how they reconciled. We saw her respect him and disagree with him.
Perfect.
You know, not just acquiesce to him, but disagree, but respectfully. And man, it just opened my eyes to a healthy, godly marriage. And we even with all the stuff, I was like, man, they're for sure going to be like, they were like, no, we think y'all should get married. We think y'all should. I think the stuff y'all are dealing with, y'all will work through in those initial years of marriage.
Oh, yeah.
And I look at my life today, and it looks really similar
That's awesome. Yeah.
to them.
Yeah, and you need, in relationships, you need tension.
Yeah.
You can't build muscle without tension. You got to have tension under time, period. So tension is good. It's just figuring out how to manage it, right? How to reconcile it.
Yeah.
So that's the part that people, having passion, like those fights where you're throwing stuff, like, that's actually not a bad indicator.
Yeah.
It's a good indicator. It's like you hurt her feelings so bad. She's so passionate. She wants to like you so much, but she doesn't know how to control emotions. She's throwing stuff at you, hoping that you'll figure out.
Yeah, you'll wake up.
She's feeling. But you're like, I don't know.
I think that's better than having a complacent relationship where you're just like living with a roommate and you're like there's no communication. It's just like, all right, yeah.
Come up with ways to argue sometimes just for fun. I'm kidding, no. But yeah, there's gotta be passion.
There's a healthy level of conflict.
Yeah, passion is just, conflict or tension is there has to be. I mean, it would be really boring if there wasn't any tension. That means you guys agree on everything. It's like that's ridiculous.
Well, I think you can equate that to just life in general. It's like you need tension and adversity in your life to overcome, or else it's like you're not going to grow. Because each time you overcome some type of adversity in life, you're getting stronger. And it's the same thing with marriage. Like, yeah, it's great. Have tension, have a fight, but you overcome it together.
That's right.
You're that much stronger on the other side.
And then you can be a model for other people too. Like, people want genuine models. They don't want some fake.
That's right.
There, so.
No.
Yeah.
So.
But I don't know of a lot of people that have an example of someone that they're like, I want my life to look like that.
Because they don't look. That's the thing. That would be one of my biggest encouragements is like, I've been in this area 27 years. The kingdom is alive and well in, Walton, Okaloosa, Escambia County. It's alive and well. It's out there. And there's some really good people out there that are trying to do, God's work.
Yeah.
That are way older than me, that are way older than, the 20-something-year-old that's trying to figure it out. Yeah. But,
you'll find them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The people, all you got to do is ask.
Yeah.
Just ask around. And they don't have to be perfect, right? They just have to be ahead of you. And like, even from a secular perspective, if you decide I want to own a CRM company and sell it, at the highest EBITDA that I can find, get with a guy that's done it before.
Yeah.
I want to be a SEAL. I get with a guy that's done it before. And then, there's examples out there. The problem is people just think they're going to go figure it out. It's like, you're not going to go figure it out. You need an actual model. You need to be able to see it.
Yeah.
To do it. It's hard to mimic something you've never seen.
Yeah.
So.
That's a good word.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, man. Thank you for not only just coming on, but really love that you're pouring into other marriages and younger men and women, giving y'all's experience, turning around and using it to help others.
Yeah.
Where can people find you? Are you on anything social or?
Yeah, I am on Instagram. I think it's Teddy. That's like a play on my. If you've ever done the Gallup Strength Finders, my number one, wire up there, strategy. So I love strategy.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so it's strategy is like the play on that. I'm on Facebook, but I don't really use Facebook a lot. And then you can just email me or you can just find me at the coffee shop. I'm literally at the Destin coffee shop every day talking to somebody.
And what's the name of that again?
Ma's Coffee Roasters.
Ma's Coffee Roasters.
Ma's Coffee Roasters in Destin and Ma's Coffee Roasters in Fort Walton Beach, downtown.
And we'll put the links to everything below in the description,
man,
and then
be awesome.
put your coffee shop.
Can they
out
buy
there.
coffee off online from you guys?
Right, so we're working on that, actually. Okay. We're working on an online store. We did have a site, but we shut it down because it's not good. And so we're developing a new site so that people can actually do the e-commerce thing.
Cool.
We do ship coffee all over the world because what ends up happening is people text us or they DM us on Instagram. Yeah. So you can DM us, tell us what coffee you want, and then we'll send it to you. We roast from 11 different countries every week, so all of our coffee's fresh.
Yeah.
So, so when you get your coffee, it's going to be 2 days old.
Yeah. Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to come down there, man. I got to come down there.
Yeah, that's treacherous, though, for you right now.
But it'd be a good excuse to go down there and then also get some Burrito del Sol. Yeah. That is true at this time.
Yeah. We need to fly there.
Nearly had an aneurysm on the way over here.
Take the guns out of your car.
Yeah, exactly. Well, Well, brother, dude, I am so glad that you took the time to come on, man. It's
Thank
it
you
was
guys for having me.
always like a pleasure talking to you, dude. Every time I run into you, and
Thank you. I appreciate that.
I know that people listening will get a lot out of this episode,
I hope
dude.
so.
Yeah,
for sure.
So,
Yeah.
Hopefully, men in particular are challenged.
yes.
Yeah.
Well, God bless you, brother.
God bless
Yep.
you guys.
All right.
Thank you.
Out.
Hey, what's up, guys? So, as you know, when I'm not podcasting, I'm doing a lot of instructing shooting courses, whether it's from basic to advanced. And the one product I'd love to see people bring to the range is a suppressor for obvious reasons, because when you shoot, you want to shoot like a gentleman. And over the course of my career and also while instructing, I have got to shoot a multitude of different suppressors. And there's only one that I really love that I stick with, and that is elevated silence. I've been shooting that now for over a couple years. There is very little to no blowback. It's definitely one of the quietest suppressors out there. And believe me, I put it to the test. They are made to last. So whether you're a seasoned shooter or new to the game, Elevated Silence has a suppressor to match your needs. Their commitment to quality ensures that each product enhances your shooting sessions, making them more enjoyable and memorable. If you are looking to pick up a suppressor, go to elevatedsilence.com. Thank you and God bless.